Canto is making a debut to the list thanks to the incredible work of breakout artist Flops. Speaking of hot artists, Mark Spears isn't going anywhere, with multiple books still holding strong. And Marvel Rivals is claiming even more territory as Storm electrifies the scene with her grand debut. So, Shane, what a week it's been.
Yes, the elusive Rivals cover. I really tried to get that one.
You did? You tried to get that one? I purposely didn't get it. I don't know why. I knew it was going to be hot. I knew people were going to go crazy for it because the order was still... It was a Storm book, so the print run couldn't have possibly be that big. I know Storm's still a popular character, but they're not buying Storms like that. No. And that Monsters cover, this Monsters, Mark Spears Monsters #3, another book that we'll talk a little bit more about that book, as well as we'll talk about Punisher and Fantastic Four, because those are four. Notice there's somebody's missing from this list. Who could it possibly be?
There's no Jeff.
There's no Jeff in our list. But you know who else is missing?
Ain't well nothing yet. Name's Lobo. They started making me blood.
He's gone. He's not on this list, guys. I'm just giving you a heads up. Spoiler alert, no Lobo in this list.
It's a fickle group.
That's, you know what I'm saying? But let's go ahead and start this off. And we're going to start it in the big way with The Punisher #1. This book came out in 1986 from Marvel Comics. $60 raw was the last recorded sale. Fair market value of this book is $48 at a raw, $190 at a 9.8. This is number 10 in cover price. Sales volume of this book is at 43%. The hype level is at a medium. Now, we talked a little bit before the stream. What is your take on this book and why this book is in this list?
Well, if there's any Daredevil fans and they watch the Born Again trailer, then you got to see him in his glory there. And I think that's what this is. I was actually looking for the #1 of his ongoing series, but I couldn't find it in my piles over there. But yeah, I think that's what that's where it's coming from.
Yeah. This is his first solo series outside of magazine, because he does have a magazine series as well. So this is his first comic. Great Mike Zeck cover. This is a phenomenal issue. 1 in 4 issue limited series, but it really wasn't. It was 5 issues. They changed it as they went along, but phenomenal Mike Zeck cover. We talked about this book a couple of weeks ago when we were doing Creator Spotlight. This is such a great book and such an awesome cover. One of my favorite covers.
Amazing cover for sure.
Let's go into number 9, and we're going to keep that trend of Daredevil alive with Daredevil 11. This is the one that came out in 2016, not to be mistaken with the original Daredevil 11. This is part of volume 2, volume 2, volume 3, volume 20. I don't know how Marvel keeps tabs of these things anymore. We'll just go by the year. 2016, Marvel Comics. This is a $40 raw. That was the last recorded sales. The fair market value of this book is at $77 raw, while 9.8s are going for about $219. This book is on the trending list for Key Collector at number 4, number 8 in CBSI, and number 11 in cover price. The sales volume of this book has increased 27%, and the hype level is at a medium. This is the first appearance of Muse. What do you know about Muse?
I know that they appear first in this issue.
So Muse is a very, very interesting character. They do have a special power, and they have the ability to take people's blood and generate. And what he does, and this is why it's called Muse, is that he's an artist. So he kind of has that Hannibal Lecter vibes to it, but he takes the blood of his victims and he makes portraits from them. And this character is going to be in the Daredevil series.
I can't wait for that show because I love Daredevil. Though was amazing.
Yeah.
Jessica Jones, Luke Cage. I liked all.
Jessica Jones was great, especially that first season of Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
Ooh, David Tennant. Oh man, that was a scary villain, and I think Muse is going to be the same thing.
Yeah, I'm hoping so.
Right. Let's go into our next book for number 8. Mark Spears Monsters number 3. This is the Bride double-sided exclusive variant for Bird City. I believe there's only limited to 500 copies of this book. 2025 from Keenspot. $110 at a 9.8 was the last recorded sale. Fair market value of this book's at $66, while 9.8 was at $110. This is only on cover price right now. The sales volume of this book is at 23%, and of course, the hype level of this book is at a high. This book has yet to be released, but pre-orders were coming in already for this book, and therefore it made the list.
We're getting closer and closer to where all those people that missed the boat have been able to order, like this guy. And we're going to see what happens when those books hit. But I love this. I love the scroll signature in this cover. I think it's hilarious. I love it.
It's an homage to McFarlane, right?
Yeah.
This cover is very interesting with the light blue. We normally talk about the vibrant, like royal blue and stuff like that, but this one's really, really vibrant with that blue he chose for this picture.
Yeah, for sure. It's a little bit different color scheme than he usually picks, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this one she just looks pissed.
Yeah.
She's like, what the hell are you looking at?
Why do people keep buying my covers?
Right. All right. So there you have it. Mark Spears Monsters number 3, the Bride double-sided exclusive variant. This is for Bird City. So that's where you have to go to get this comic. I don't know if they still have any because they were limited to 500. So I don't know if all 500 are gone.
Oh, but probably.
Let's go to number 7. And that is Fantastic Four 280. This book came out in 1985 from Marvel Comics. $14 raw was the last recorded sale. Fair market value of this book's at $11 at raw, $141 and a 9.8. This is on the trendy list for CBSI at a number 3. Now, what kicked this book up was that sales volume. There's still a lot of copies being sold. 129% sales volume in over the 30-day period, and the hype level is still high. Malice is not going anywhere right now.
Now, I forgot to ask my oldest if he actually has heard of that character, has seen them in there. So I'll have to remember to ask him for next week. But yeah, people just want that appearance, and it's a cool looking character. What can you say?
I do believe that the sales volume of this book is high because the book is so inexpensive right now.
Yeah.
So therefore, I could pick up the book for $10 to $15, not really worried about, how much I'm going to spend or I'm going to break the bank for this book. That's what drives the price up for this book. It's the fact that it's at low cost and it still has some level of demand.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Let's take a look at number 6. Ultimate Wolverine number 1. This book came out last week from Marvel Comics. This book is now selling at $15. That was the last recorded sale. Fair market value of this book's at $11. 9.8s are already going for about $59. And it's number 9 in cover price. Sales volume of this book is at 197%. Hype level right now, I'm going to say it's at a medium. Because I don't hear too much murmur about it. I honestly thought this book was going to perform the same way Absolute Batman did. And for some reason, it just didn't. And I don't understand why.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one because I've read it, thought the story was cool. There was interesting things that happened in it. And I definitely thought it was going to catch a little bit more. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm kind of, I'm not sure what happened there.
It could be that it's just, people are starting to pick it up. It's a pretty solid story. I wouldn't say it's a mind-blowing story, but I will say it was a good story.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. I enjoyed reading it. It was a quick read. And I think it has a lot of potential, especially with the story that they're telling us, bringing him back to the roots that we love Wolverine. There's mystery behind him. We're not too sure what's his story, but we do know he's also the Winter Soldier. Take what you know from the Winter Soldier and put it with Wolverine. This is what you get, Ultimate Wolverine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's number 6 in our list. Let's take a look at what's number 5. Ha! There's that Mark Spears Monsters book. Mark Spears Monsters number 1, 2024 for Keenspot. Last sold for $275, while the fair market value of this book is at $263 raw, $418 at a 9.8. This is number 5 in CBSI. Sales volume is at 48%. The hype level is at a medium. This book is number 5 because of 2 factors. It's still selling, and because of its high costs.
I can't even believe it. $275 for, a book that's so new. It's amazing. There's still interest out there for sure. Obviously, people are still buying it. It's going to be really interesting to see where this falls in the 30, 60, 90 day kind of rankings for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And it's because it's cover A, it doesn't demand as much as the Brightzilla cover, but still, it's might as well, because we're talking about $263, $275, $400 for 9/8. It's incredible the amount of money this book is demanding right now, and it's still selling with the sales volume.
Yeah, especially like the margin between the raw and a 9/8 is not what you would think it would be. Like, it's still real expensive for you to get a raw copy, even.
And especially with the raw copies, being that this is a new book, those raw copies are pretty much 9/8 contenders anyway. They're not going to be 4.0s or 8s. They're going to be in the 9 ranges, right? That's the approach. So it's very interesting to say. And let's take a look at what's number 4. Another Fantastic Four book. Fantastic Four 24/7. I want to say it that way. It just sounds better, right? Fantastic Four 24/7, 1982, Marvel Comics. This book's at $12 raw is the last recorded sales. Fair market value of this book is at $5. It's $223 and 9.8. This was number 1 in Key Collector, number 4 in CBSI, number 5 in cover price. Sales volume of this book is at 49%. The hype level of this book is at a medium. Do you know why this book is at this list, Shane?
So I don't think it's this week, but when One World Under Doom starts, supposedly a character from this book, I don't know how heavy you want to get into spoilers, but is kind of tasked with assembling another team. And that's why that kind of leaked out, and that's why people are interested in this book.
And you're absolutely right. It's a book that goes back to 1984. This features the first appearance of Christophe Bernard, the adopted son of Dr. Doom. Now, why is a $5 book so important? Just like you said, this character is going to be a major player in the One Nation Under Doom storyline that's happening. And he is forming a new set of adventures that includes characters that we haven't seen. And very interesting. I know one of them is Onslaught, which I'm curious to see how they pulled that one off. But this book is hot, not for Marvel rivals, not because of upcoming Avengers movies, hot because of comics.
Yeah. And people were probably already kind of going through Fantastic Four books and different titles to look for cool Doom covers with all of the hype with him. And this one was already fitting that. I love this cover. I think it's great. And now all of a sudden it has that extra key significance that, might turn into something in the new series. But I would pick this book up if I found it for $12 in a heartbeat. I would do it.
Yeah. Well, it also looks like Doom's just going to crap on that house underneath too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys in the chat, let me know. Is Doom wearing underwear underneath that skirt? Or is it a kilt? We never identified if it was a kilt or a skirt.
Or is he wearing armor underneath of that?
I think Doom likes to let the air in. Number 3 of the week, and that is Amazing Spider-Man 65, the Marvel Rivals variant. This book is brand new. It came out in 2025. $23 raw is the last recorded sale of this book. It's also the fair market value of this book, $85 at 9.8. It's number 10 on Key Collector and number 7 in cover price. The sales volume of this book is at 75% with a hype level of high. Man, Marvel Rivals just won't stop, do they?
It's a tough, act. Like, where do you sell this book? Because I don't have any, I'd like to say that it long term probably not going to hold its value because the games just change.
Yeah.
But if I did own multiple copies or a copy of each, I would be either tempted to send them in for grading or looking to probably sell them sooner rather than later.
Agreed. And I think this is one of those books that's a contender for Fast Track because of that reason. Fast Track is one of those things with CGC that you get the book in and they put you in front of the line. I don't know how fast is Fast Track, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
However, like you said, this book, its longevity isn't there, I think. But it is still a Spider-Man cover, and that could keep it a little bit there a little longer. Yeah. Spider-Man covers are still pretty popular. Okay. It's time to take a look at what's number 2 on our list, and that is Canto, A Place Like Home. Number 6. This is the Flops variant, a book that came out this year and for Dark Horse Comics. A raw sold for $50, which makes it a fair market value of $55. This was number 2 on CBSI, number 1 in cover price. The sales volume of this book is at 38%, while the hype level of this book is at a high. What do you know about this book?
I can't wait to hear why this book is on this list, Izzy, because it's not an awesome cover. I don't know anything about
really?
The character. Like, I don't think that the cover is anything super special for me anyway. So
that is funny that you say that, because it's about the cover. It's about the artist. So this is very similar to the Mark Spears approach to it, where this artist, his name is Flop. He does these images. This is pretty much supposed to be like a toy box or cereal box type. We've seen before, but if you read it, it'll just say featuring incredible 5 points of articulation. So it's supposed to be like a toy box.
Yeah.
This artist is pretty popular within a niche, and Canto has a niche following as well. It's a bit of a cult classic as well. So you can put those two together, and you have a book that's on demand. The question that I'm going to have is, how long will this book last? Will it have that same effect Mark Spears have, or will it just be on this list this week and then we'll never see it again until he does the next book that people are really excited for?
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see with whatever the next one is that he does, if it kind of drives more interest to this one. But it just seems to me like Monsters is something that I hadn't heard of before either. So, take that with a grain of salt. But I don't know anything about Canto. I've never heard of this character before. So from that way, I don't have any interest in picking up the book. So I just don't know if it'll last.
Yeah. And like I said, there is a following for Canto, maybe not to the same extent as Monsters because of Universal Monsters, but there is a group of people, I would say in the same way Bone was popular. If you remember Bone in the 90s. Sense. So, and then again, this artist Flops, he's a very popular artist within a niche group. So that's why this book is number 2. It was number 1 in cover price. So the book skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Right. But it couldn't beat the number 1 book of the week, which last week we talked about it, and neither you or I had a chance to get it when we probably should have. And that is at number 1, Storm number 4, the Marvel Rivals variant. This book came out last week, last sold for $21 raw. Fair market value of this book is at $25. It is number 1 in CBSI. It was number 2 in cover price. The sales volume of this book is at 99%, and it's a hype level of high.
I was trying, like I would have paid probably $10 for it. And I tried, there's 3 or 4 shops in my area. And I was at a little comic show on the weekend on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I tried. I didn't even see a copy of this for any price.
Mm. I didn't get to go to a shop last week. I went somewhere else to get my books, so he didn't have a copy. However, this was one of those books that I knew it. The moment I saw it on League of Comic Geek, the moment I saw it on Cover Price, I knew this book was going to be hot. Did I think this book was going to be number 1? No, I thought Ultimate Wolverine was going to be number 1. This one was the sleeper, but not too much of a sleeper because it's still a Marvel Rivals cover.
Yeah.
And it has nothing. I'm sorry, guys. It has nothing to do with Storm. It has everything to do with that little logo that's in the top.
Yeah. One of the shops I went to, they mentioned that they did get copies of it, but they were all like pre-ordered by people. So they didn't have any extra. And like, it just totally goes along with what you're saying. 2 weeks ago, the books came out. Everybody's like, oh, I got to have them. This one was last week. And here we are. No one could get it.
Mm-hmm. Here's the other thing that I want to take note of, because even though these books have not showed up in the top 10, be on the lookout for the Marvel versus Capcom covers. Because of Marvel Rivals, I think, my personal opinion, because of Marvel Rivals, Marvel Capcom versus Capcom covers are now getting some kind of momentum.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's like, oh, let's get this one too. And those books are starting to see some heat. They didn't make it to the top 10, but if we were to do a top 20, those books would be on this list.
Yeah. If you were going into a comic shop and you're not really a comic shop person and you were asking for these books, if you were a smart comic store owner, you would say, but I have Capcom. That's a video game. You can grab these covers.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So there you have it, guys. Storm number 4, the Marvel Rivals variant at number 1 this week. Tell me what your thoughts are. What do you think about the ranking system? Which books do you have from this list? Share your thoughts in the comments and stay tuned for next week's ranking. I think there's another book coming in next week that's going to be in this list, and that's my personal opinion. We'll talk about that when we get to new comic books. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more comic content. Check out these other videos for even more insight, and I'll see you at the next one. Excelsior.